Hello everybody, welcome back along to the channel. Hope you are all okay. If you're at work, thank you. If you're in lockdown, hope you're not too bored and enjoying content like this and not drinking too much. A few little updates today, football wise and championship wise. Just looking at the papers and the reports from yesterday. First of all, the Sun has been talking about the out of contract player situation, reporting that the 800 plus players who are out of contract in the EFL. Remember, June 30th is the D-Day, and we're expecting them to play past that if they play at all. I'm sure we'll get the doomsday comments that say they'll never ever play again. They look like they're going to have to take a vote as a group on whether they're going to be happy to play along. We expect them to get their severance pay at the end of their contract, and then it appears that they may have to vote as to whether they're going to play for free for their club or not. And obviously that then puts up the issue of free agency. Will they be allowed to move if they are out of contract? All very interesting scenario. On the one hand, I guess it's a bit of a shop window if you look at it that way round, that when does an out of contract free agent player ever get the chance to literally say, right, this is what I can do? It's normally done on past appearances and then a trial or something of that nature. But so in a positive way, it's effectively a trial in match conditions, although they could be quite weird match conditions. They could, I suppose, even get a new contract at their club, although you would think if they don't have one by now, maybe they're not going to be off one. But sometimes you see these things play out where the player's contract expires and, I don't know, go away, have a good pre-season, they keep training with them, and then a couple of months later they're offered another one. So strange things have happened. On the other hand, they've been asked to do it for free, possibly. We're expecting severance pay, no extra wages. It's a really difficult moral one. From the player's point of view, a contract is kind of absolute, isn't it? And the date said June the 30th. Obviously, no one knew that this was going to happen. So maybe the argument, I know Simon Jordan was annoyed with Roy Keane's comments, oh, you sign a contract, the contract stands. And Simon Jordan's argument was, well, the world has changed now, but it hasn't changed for you. And you're going to stick to your pre-COVID contract and, not look at it post-COVID. From the club's point of view, they honestly and fairly signed these contracts on the basis that all the obligations that they'd want from their player would take place before that June the 30th date. So it's a very, very difficult one morally. Again, self-interest is going to come in from the player's point of view here. You would imagine those players who are towards the end of their career and maybe highly paid would be less interested in playing for free as a shop window for their future services. They would say, well, you know me by now. This is what I've done over my career. This is what you get. But put it from the point of view of a young player, it's a little bit different. I'm sure they'd quite happily say, look, I've got possibly a whole career, 10, 15 years ahead of me. Look, I'll happily go out and play in order to secure. Can you imagine a three-year contract after that? Maybe 3-year contracts might be in short supply after COVID's hopefully done with. But yeah, very, very interesting one. Absolute moral maze. What would you do if you were a player? Let me know in the comments. Again, so much nuance, isn't there? And player to player will be different. So it'll be interesting to see what the consensus is among these 800 players. More financial stuff. I know it never rains but it pours. HMRC have spoken out about clubs who have deferred PAYE contributions. The Telegraph and the Mail, there they are again, are reporting that Championship clubs and Premier League clubs will be stopped from spending in the transfer market if they have not repaid their deferred PAYE contribution. So PAYE is basically its income tax, and clubs have been allowed to defer it. Now, as I understand, I'm not a financial expert, this is not the same as the furloughing system that the government gave, the 80% that Liverpool, Spurs, Newcastle and Norwich were all criticised for taking up, although a couple of those have then reneged on it and backtracked. This seems to be something different where clubs have been allowed to defer PAYE payments. I don't know if it's exclusively a football thing or across other businesses. But they're now being told that if they do defer that income tax, so I don't know, they do it across their whole squad, they save £1 million from doing it, and then they go and spend £1 million in the transfer market. The argument from HMRC is that £1 million is the taxpayers and theirs and the government's, and they should be getting it first rather than ex-player or agent, which I suppose makes some sense. In terms of the Premier League, we've heard Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying that Manchester United are in a position of opportunity. Good for them, hey, and they'll be looking to see what they can do in the transfer market. So maybe this is going to be less problematic for some clubs, extremely revenue-generating machines like Manchester United, or cash-rich owners like Manchester City, etc. Might be absolutely fine, but the moral side of it's a little bit different, isn't it? Again, isn't it interesting how we keep coming across the health side, the economic side, and the moral side, and the financial side. Financial side and the economic side are the same thing, but when I'm talking about the economy, I'm talking for everybody. But always seems to be the same factors, don't they, at the moment? In the Championship, we're expecting a very slow transfer window. It seems that the belief now is that it's not that the bubble is about to burst, that it already has burst, and we're kind of on the other side of it financially. So depending on the figures, I mean, you wouldn't expect barely. I mean, Championship spending's been down anyway, hasn't it? All the big deals were loans this past. The majority of them were loans, weren't they? This past transfer window, and the example of Villa the previous season doing it with loans and wages, which is in their wage bill. Although it could be that this could act as a sort of extra transfer embargo for other teams. For example, if you're really, really in dire straits, broke, and you do the PAYE deferral and you're still broke, you can't return the PAYE money, so it's just going to act as a transfer embargo until such time as you can repay that. So again, is the rich being given an opportunity and the poor being punished? Kind of a left-wing view, but some people might agree with it. I guess it's probably the right thing to do. I don't think the public are going to enjoy seeing agents and players getting money ahead of HMRC in times like this. It's just another factor in a very horrible financial landscape going on after this. Let me know what you think about that. I suspect we'll probably be fairly unanimous in the comments that the debt to the country needs to be repaid. But will it hamstring? Imagine that situation. Like I said, revenues are low, cash is being burned. You've deferred your PAYE. You've got no money to pay it back. Although we know from history, HMRC is always top of the queue when money needs to be paid back, doesn't it? Let me know what you think in the comments. One other story, a little bit different. I suppose we can get a little bit of more positive debate. Manchester United have announced that they're going to put 1,500 rail-style seats in at Old Trafford. And it got me thinking, will we get any down here in the Championship? Brentford fans will already argue that we already have safe standing at both ends of Griffin Park. Obviously, potentially only 9 more games of that, and will anyone ever play at Griffin Park again, given that the new stadium is starting next season? But that, with Burton down in League One now, the only sort of remaining terrace, there's a few in League One, isn't there? Accrington, Burton obviously I'm sure I'll miss out a load of them, but plenty there. Bristol Rovers. Interesting to see if it goes down into the first tier, the safe standing. Would you like to see it at your club? Obviously, it's something that's very personal. Personally, I'm 5'8.5", and I'm sitting making notes for match review, so I need to be sat down and I need to get a good view of the pitch. But that doesn't necessarily reflect the, 17, 18-year-old who's got their first job, they've got their first money, they want to go out and spend it and go with their friends to go to away matches, and they want to have some drinks and they want to stand up and cheer and chant and get involved that way. So very different output. I guess in home stands it's easier because the clubs can say, look, if you want to stand, buy a ticket in this one bit, over there you go. And if you're stood anywhere else in the ground, you're going to be asked to leave. That solves an easy problem. It's a bit more difficult with away fans because you often get some pretty poor stewarding where, seats are allocated but no one's told where to sit, and, things of that nature, and people all coming in 5 minutes before the kickoff. I guess they might make the back 10 rows standing to begin with, and you can buy a standing ticket and a seated ticket, and if you are standing in the seated area, you're told to go to the back. Will there be enough allocation? Always a tough one. Let me know how you'd like to see that implemented and whether you would like to see that at your club. And as always, we need to respect that the view of a 70-year-old male who's had a season ticket for 40 years. He can't stand up for the whole game, can he? For goodness sakes. He's no less valued in seeing the game than a new fan who does want to go and stand. So we have to respect, a pregnant lady, a family with small children. How you split all of this up, because standing is good for some, but very bad for some others. So a few stories to go with. Get your comments in on all of them. Out of contract players, HMRC threats on PAYE, safe standing. Trying to keep the debate going as per usual. I'll read my normal moral fluff out and say respect everybody's point of view and try and be kind while we're debating. But for YouTubers like me at the moment, it is so important to get that debate in the comments and keep things going whilst we don't have any games or league tables or transfers or things of that nature to talk about. Kieran Maguire, the brilliant financial expert, I'll be chatting to him tomorrow morning, so I'll put a tweet out and a YouTube post. If you've got questions for Kieran, I know we've talked a lot of finances. I'm reasonably well versed as a kind of layman who reads a lot of the stuff, but if you want to hear from someone who actually really truly knows what they're talking about, I'm not saying I don't know what I'm talking about, but there will be a time in all this financial stuff where I say, look, I don't know, man. I don't know the answer to that, whereas Kieran actually will know the answer. So get your questions in for him. I'll put that on Twitter and YouTube. Maybe don't put them in the comments on this video, but look for the YouTube post or on my Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. So hit follow there and look out for the tweet. As usual, hit subscribe, ring the bell over here, and do get involved in the comments. I'll see you on the next video, which will be Kieran's chat tomorrow, unless we get some kind of EFL statement or government action today. Highly unlikely for both, I would have thought, but you never know. Stories break when they break. Normally 2 seconds after I've finished recording, I'm going to pick my phone up and some story's broken. So get involved in the comments, and if you're bored and you just need to chat, then get down in those comments. Some really good debate from some really smart and opinionated subscribers, as always, on this channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.